Chair lays out on second reading House Bill 748. The clerk will read the bill.
HB number 748 by Leach, relating to the enforceability of certain non-disclosure or confidentiality provisions with respect to an act of sexual abuse committed against a child.
The chair recognizes Mr. Leach to explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I am extremely honored to present this important bill to you today, House Bill 748, Trey's Law. Members, if you'll allow me just a minute or two to explain to you this bill and the story behind it. Trey Carlock was a talented, smart, and handsome young man from Dallas who took his own life at the age of 28 after being groomed and sexually abused at Kanakuk summer camp for a decade. At age 23, in a pursuit of justice against his abuser and those who harbored him, Trey and his family relived the trauma and the abuse through a civil lawsuit, which, while settled, included a restrictive non-disclosure agreement, otherwise known as an NDA. This tool was used by Trey's abuser and Kanakuk camps as a tool to silence Trey and to shield their criminal acts, all in exchange for a settlement. Truly blood money. Members, Cindy Clemshire was 12 years old when a traveling evangelist named Robert Morris began to sexually abuse her in the 1980s. On Christmas Eve of 1982, defiling her for the very first time. He made her promise at that time not to tell anyone about it. In her own words, Cindy said just to our committee about a month ago that, quote, the first time Robert Morris made the premeditated decision to violate and to defile my purity, he told me, you can never tell anyone because it will ruin everything. 18 years ago, Robert Morris, who became one of the most popular and well-known preachers and pastors, if you could call him that, in all of the world, shepherding Gateway Church in North Dallas, one of the largest churches in the world. Just 18 years ago, he again tried to silence Cindy Clemshire. During negotiations over a civil settlement in 2007, Robert Morris offered Cindy Clemshire $25,000 in exchange for her signing a non-disclosure agreement, prohibiting her from ever being able to speak out about her abuse that allegedly took place over 5 years in the 1980s. Not allegedly, that did take place over 5 years in the 1980s. Unlike Trey, Cindy denied the blood money. Elizabeth Carlock Phillips, who lives in Dallas, Trey's wonderful sister who has made this effort the cause of her life, said this. She said, quote, the use of NDAs and settlement agreements is essentially lawful hush money. It is institutional abuse on top of sexual abuse. And I couldn't agree with her more. For too long, this has been the policy of this state. We have here in Texas allowed for sanctioned blood money, for hush money, in these awful cases of abuse. And today, with the passage of Trey's Law, that practice comes to an end. With the passage of this bill, we will explicitly prohibit these types of agreements in civil settlement agreements. We will render them totally void and unenforceable as a matter of law to the extent that they would prohibit a victim from speaking out about an act of sexual abuse or any facts related to those acts. The bill does allow for an agreement of the parties to keep other details or terms of a settlement, such as the amount or payment terms, confidential. Further, the bill describes, quote, an act of sexual abuse to include not only all aspects of child sexual abuse, but also sexual assault, aggravated sexual assault, and human trafficking violations, regardless of the age of the victim. Members, I do have a floor amendment that I'd like to go ahead and offer and accept, Mr. Speaker.
The following amendment, the clerk will read the amendment.
Amendment by Leach.
The chair recognizes Mr. Leach to explain the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, this floor amendment is the product of many conversations with many of you over the past many weeks, including over the past 24 hours, as well as various victims groups. This addresses the concerns relating to retroactivity. It sets forth a very clear process by which any existing NDAs could ever be enforced to silence any victims in the future, which hopefully after this bill passes would never happen. Mr. Speaker, I move adoption of the amendment.
Mr. Leach sends up an amendment. The amendment is acceptable to the author. Is there objection to the adoption of the amendment? Chair hears none. The amendment is adopted.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I want to sincerely thank many of you, including most notably Vice Chair Ann Johnson, Chairman Morgan Meyer, Chairman David Cook, and Representative Mitch Little for working with me on this, for adding such tremendous value to this conversation. Most importantly today, members, and with you standing with me here at the front mic, which I'm so honored you've chosen to do, we are sending a message and thanking the brave and the courageous advocates and survivors for speaking out, some of whom are in the gallery with us today, members, for speaking out so passionately and forcefully on this issue. To me and to all of you, it's clear today you either stand with victims or you stand with the people who harmed them, period. And today the Texas House is standing not with the victims, but with the victors in this important fight. Mr. Speaker, I proudly move passage of House Bill 748. I think there might be another couple members who want to say a few words.
Does anybody wish to speak on for or against the bill? Mr. Little in favor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, members of the House. I want to first express my sincere thanks to Chairman Leach for his leadership and partnership in advancing this important bill. As an attorney, I've had the great honor of representing both minor children and adult victims of sexual abuse. The situations that required my representation have been horrific. A little girl who was molested by one of her pastors in the middle of the night at a church summer camp. A woman raped by a member of her prayer team at her church who had a history of sexual violence that was known to the church. A boy who was ruthlessly bullied and sexually assaulted by his classmates at a therapeutic boarding school. I'm going to share with you a hard truth. In litigation, the most valuable thing that these boys and girls had to sell was their silence. The purpose of this legislation is to notify sexual abusers and the organizations that harbor them that silence is no longer for sale in the state of Texas. Information about abuse is information the state of Texas should decide as a matter of public policy needs to be in the public domain. There are too many situations where a culture of concealment gives rise to future victimization and an inability to exclude abusers from environments where potential victims are plentiful. Please hear me. The heartbeat of this bill is to set captives free. Trey Carlock is the person for whom Trey's Law is named. The secret he was required by contract to keep was corroding his soul, and it shouldn't have. He did nothing wrong, didn't deserve the abuse that he suffered. It's my hope that this law is even a small consolation to his family and will allow others to heal on his behalf. I know there are faith leaders who may be concerned about the impact of this law. I have been one of you. I myself served on the board of a megachurch for 6 years. The message I would like to communicate to you is that no building, no legal fiction, no bank account is worth our souls or the souls of those that we are committed to protecting. We must put others first. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Anyone else wishing to speak on for or against the bill? Chair recognizes Mr. Leach to close.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. With that, I move passage of House Bill 748, Trey's Law.
The question occurs on passage to engrossment of House Bill 748. A record vote has been requested. The clerk will ring the bell. Show Representative Leach voting aye. Ms. Ramon voting aye. Cook voting aye. Morgan Meyer voting aye. McQueenie voting aye. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? Have all members voted? There being 149 ayes and 0 nays, House Bill 748 is passed to engrossment.